everybody. Welcome back to the Gurren Otaku Council podcast and Happy New Year. I'm your host, Ace.
And I'm McMillian.
And today we are back for another year. We're back in 2022. But as always, before we get started, if you would like to be a part of the council and join us every week as we discuss all things anime and sometimes manga, then make sure to hit that subscribe button as well as follow us on our social media on Twitter and Instagram so you can stay up to date on all things about the council. And with that being said, council is now in session. Let the meeting begin.
First breath of the new year.
Well, it's been a minute since I talked to you, McMillian. How you doing?
Pretty good. How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing good. Back for the new year. I guess technically this will be our first full year if we make it to all the way this year. So I'm excited for that. But no, it's been a minute since we did a regular episode. We've been putting out our last two episodes were special episodes. So if you guys have not seen those yet, our last two episodes we put out was the SAL Progressive Move Review, as well as a Season 1 retrospective of Jujutsu Kaisen. So go check those out. They're live now.
But speaking of the JJK episode, I just want to say something real quick. I do apologize for my audio. As you probably guessed, I was not in my normal location for recording, so I was missing my normal mic. But hopefully this one comes out a lot better. I'm using a different type of setup for recording. So.
Correct. But the next episode 9, everybody should be back in their normal spot, so we should be done with away recording for a little bit. But anyways. Moving on, as we know, just saying before, it's been a minute since we've done a regular episode. We have a lot. So just to let everybody know, episode 8, we're gonna do this as a 2-parter. Part 1, we'll be discussing 86, episode 20 and 21, as well as Mushoku Tensei episode 22 and 23. And for part 2, we'll be discussing Demon Slayer. Episodes 2 through 5, as well as we'll also be talking about a lot of the reveals that happened at Jump Festa. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. We're going to go ahead and get it started with 86. And I'll just let you start off, McMillian. So, 86. It's been a minute since we've seen from Shin in the group. So,
yeah. So, as always, spoiler warning. Goes without saying for these 2 episodes. But yeah, so episode what was it again? I'm sorry.
20 and 21.
So 20 and 21. So 20 didn't have much in it, so we're probably not going to talk about the things that happened too much in it. But Raiden in 20 finally called Shin out on his fatalist bullshit. Like telling him, bro, you gotta stop trying to lead the group. Like, we are here to help you out. Stop trying to do this by yourself. It's like you almost want to die.
Yeah.
And I was just glad for the conversation that happened, because I felt like it ever since, I mean, they kind of pointed out ever since they kind of got there, and ever since they started doing this again, especially with the Morpho involved, it seemed like Shin had been trying to like plunge headfirst into demise. So it was good to see Raiden being like the eldest of the group take up the thing and be like, yo, you are a leader, but like you understand that we also in this with you.
Yeah.
So
this episode we definitely got to see more of, I guess, I wouldn't necessarily call it a backstory, but I guess you got to get a deeper look into Shin as a person.
Yeah.
And because he was questioning himself a lot and for his reason to live, and not that he wasn't already doing it, but they actually went more deep into it. Because before then, you know, they really didn't talk too much about Shin. We just got little glimpses of him from here and there. But they kind of went a little deep. And, you know, he talked about how he was using Kiria, Frederica's Knight, as a way to basically go on keep living as an excuse to
because before it was like, I need to lay my brother to rest. And when he finally did that, it seemed like he achieved, you know, in the first half of this season, he finally achieved that peace he was looking for.
Correct.
Until they had to go back into, you know, battle. And it was kind of like And I mean, we got glimpses of that, like how when he fought Kiryu, it was kind of like a disregard for safety, almost like he was just like, this needs to get done
because he wanted to die, basically.
Yeah, and that leads into the discussion at the end of this episode with like Frederica, where we find out that the reason he did replace Kiryu with his the whole thing is because he felt like he wasn't a person fully. He was like all his other friends and all of them have wishes, and that's like what made them a person. Like that's what made them like want to keep living or keep living and like in the pursuit. And he was like, I don't have that. And it's almost like he admitted that he was like scared to see what would happen when he didn't have like an enemy or a goal to race after and achieve.
Yeah, that was I didn't expect that to come out of his mouth. Like I think this is the first time Shin actually opened up, really, and talked about stuff like this. Because right, like Raiden said, most of the times he would just stay to himself and not really open up or even talk to people.
Yeah, like even when who was it when we get that brief stint of them taking a break from fighting before Shin fought, before they like did a final battle in like the first half with Shin's brother and everything. It was still like he was more of like a part of the conversations. He was never really leading them, and so it was interesting for him to be like the reason he's like so out of it usually when like the group is all like trying to be like a happy-go-lucky band of friends, because every time it happens he starts to realize how little of a person he is without combat.
Correct. And then another interesting thing, I almost forgot about that happened in this episode. They also touched up on the fact that how the rest of the group of the 86, how they kind of almost technically been using Shin. Technically, not like, because they mentioned that how they really was just using him as a way to, be their reaper for when this all ends. They want him to be the one to take him out and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And they haven't really bothered to try to get him opened up more and stuff like that. It was more like I said, it was more of them actually just using him. And I thought that was interesting that they brought that up.
Yeah, I also thought that was pretty good, because I think it kind of shows like why the dynamic feels kind of weird for Shins, because I think in a way he tries not to get too close to anybody, so that when it finally comes time for him to like send them off, it won't hurt as much. But correct. I think a big thing with that, especially this season, because he keeps going back to Eugene's plate specifically.
Our boy Eugene.
That one must have really got to him, because I feel like that was so. Eugene was the person who didn't, he was away from all his standard group of friends, and then along comes this new guy. He's known him for all of like
a few months.
What, a week? A few months.
Yeah.
And Eugene kept opening up to Shin, like unapologetically, basically, like trying to be his friend and confidant, and it's like almost immediately that person was snatched away from him.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and you can see it really got to him, because like the letter that his sister wrote him, he kept the badge of the machine he was in, he kept, and normally he kind of just puts those away, but that one specifically he had like in a baggie. So it's like this time around, it seems like stuff is really hitting him hard in that regard.
Well, the rest of the little medals and whatnot, they're actually at the memorial that
I'm just saying, like,
built from them. But he still didn't technically. I mean, I'm not sure where that memorial is, so he may not necessarily have time to go and put it away. But still, even if he didn't have time to go there, you might have think he would have left it somewhere else. But no, he kept it on personnel.
I believe before they did the memorial thing, he kept them at least in his in the mech. I forget what they're called, the Reinslers or something like that.
The Rainleys or something like that.
Rainleys, yeah. He kept them in his
French
in the original, like in the original series. The first half of the core, he left it in the machine in a box. But this one, it seems like he personally like keeps on his person. So
yeah, correct.
It's obviously Eugene's execution was pretty brutal on him.
It was brutal for us too.
Yeah, God.
It was brutal. I'm still upset to this day how they did my boy.
Still heartbroken.
They did not have to do him like that.
It was very disrespectful.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, but other than that though, I don't think there's much else we could probably talk about from that episode because it really felt like that one was truly focused on
this.
Shin.
I'm about to say, this episode really was, like you said, truly focused on Shin. The only other thing that I guess worth mentioning in this episode is that they're starting their next offensive on the Morpho.
Yeah.
So they're going to be trying to do a little diversion, a two-part attack where they're sending one group of the fleet in one direction and the other group in another direction to try and trick the Morpho. And so they're going to start back fighting him, and which leads us into the next episode directly, episode 21. I'm just gonna before I say anything, I'm just gonna say this. I'm tired of the right. I don't know who. I'm gonna have to go look this up. I don't know who the writer of 86 is, whether he or she. Y'all need to be stopped.
Yeah, they're trying to traumatize us.
You need to be stopped. There's no way you keep doing this to us, and we still have 2 episodes left. There's no way you can keep doing this to us. But so, anyways, episode 21, as we just mentioned, is the fight between the 86 group and the Morpho. They finally caught back up to the Morpho, but before they get to this man, every step along the way, they're losing a member. A member is staying behind to be a decoy because they're being chased by the Legion.
Mm-hmm.
And every time, it's like, we don't know what's happening to them. We don't know if they're dead or alive. They just dropping off like flies, one by one. And listen, he could have just killed. Like I said, I don't know who the writer is, he or she. They could have just killed them in the first half, at the end of the first half of the core, instead of wait till the end and killing them now. I just don't understand why they keep bringing us through this emotional trauma.
Because they're trying to traumatize us. They get off on it.
They start us off with Anju. She fell down the cliff. And then as we're walking away from her, a big explosion happen. We don't know if she is still alive. Second person that drop off is Theo. Regrettably, we didn't see nothing happen with Theo. We just know that he stayed back to be a decoy. But then the third one, Kurina, she stays back. And then the Morpho shoots one of those giant blasts towards her direction.
And then all we get is her comm cut off or something like that. Yeah. Like her thing disappears from the radar.
From the radar. So she could be dead. We don't know.
No, we don't know.
But I wouldn't put it past the writers of 86 because they done worse. And then the worst one of all, fucking Raiden. If anybody's dead, Raiden is possibly surely dead.
Yeah, I don't know how the audience feels, but my money, if they are cutting off one, it's probably gonna be Raiden, because not only did he get hit by that first initial blast and had to give up Frederica from his thing, and they put her with Shin and then Fido, he came back, and then we don't really get to see what happens when he tries to help Shin fight the Morpho, other than the wings converge and try to attack him. We don't ever see his rings.
We don't. But another one of those big blasts got sent his way too, though.
Dude, that is what.
So
2 things almost took him out if he is not dead. But I'm just saying the events that transpired, Raiden is probably gone.
No, yeah. If they didn't kill, if they had to kill at least one, my money would be on Raiden. Probably more of them is dead because, like I said, these writers they don't hold back. But I would have to agree with you though. My money is definitely on Raiden being out of there.
And if they are all alive, I really need an explanation.
Yes, especially Raiden's, because like I said, he was the only one where we really physically saw him get fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
So
mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like you said, if that man is alive, he is a trooper. I'll tell you that.
The plot. That's plot.
I'll tell you that. If that man is alive, he is a trooper.
That's plot right there. But yeah, this is 21. Yeah, 21. Besides that, was probably it was in my opinion a pretty good episode because we got to see the final assault on the Morpho. Because while they were trying to take Frederica, they were going after the Morpho, but the Morpho knew and it planned this whole thing so that Shin and him could have Shin and Kira could have a final like encounter, and it almost went bad for Shin. I guess you could say. I was about to say it almost went bad, but it did go bad technically. Like because Shin went back into that fatalist mindset, threw himself at it, and almost got killed. And if it wasn't for Frederica, he would have died.
Well,
definitely died.
Yeah,
air quotes. Because if you've seen the episode, you know what happens.
Yeah, so I got to put so Frederica played a big part in helping him defeat Kyria, but as well as we don't know from who, but random scatter shots came from out of nowhere multiple times to shoot at the Morpho when Shin was fighting him 1-on-1, and actually kind of saved him the first time. Who do you think those shots came from? Because the Confederacy isn't there.
I was about to say the only person I can think of, because we've seen it happen before, is our girl, but she has not been seen since halfway through this second half. And at this point, everybody I know and love is dead. I don't trust nothing. I don't know. Because I would love to say it's the Republic of Jihad, but they were getting ready to attack while this was happening.
And they even mentioned that how the Republic, I mentioned, they was on their way to Shin's and others' locations, but even if they marched all night, they still wasn't going to technically make it in time. Mm-hmm. So from that, little piece alone, it makes me think that it wasn't them. My money is on possibly Kurina, maybe. And if it wasn't her, maybe Anju, or maybe even all three of them, like Anju, Theo, and Kurina.
If they survived, they did.
Yeah, they survived and they came to help. But
possibly,
I don't know. Now, if it's the princess, I don't know what to tell you. If she made it all the way from the Republic to the Gia, first of all, why are you here? First and foremost. Second of all, how did you get here? First and foremost, but I highly doubt it's the princess.
I wouldn't put them past them for her to still be alive. I just don't know if she'd have. If she was alive, I don't know if she'd had that capability.
Well, no, because we don't know if she's alive because we don't know what the fuck's been going on in the Republic. They even mentioned that the Republic has been radio silenced as well, so which is understandable because the Legion
the Legion got in there.
They running through there.
So yeah, I am hard pressed, but I would not be. I would put it past like Anju and Theo and Kurina surviving and them coming to help as well. But I just don't know. I wonder what that could have been that they used to do those last moves. But yeah, besides that though, I guess we can talk about Frederica being like the MVP because she manipulated Kyria, the Morpho's brain, basically, into paying attention to only her in the battle, giving Shin a clear, clear shot at actually getting at his core, his core.
Yeah,
and that was the whole Morpho fight was pretty well animated. That segment where Shin has to dodge the wings and everything. To get to the top, that was really well played, and then we got our surprise at the end. But I'll talk about that later.
I'm more surprised that Fido even let Frederica out to even go do all that.
I'm not, only because we've seen Fido disobeys Shin a lot, and even though he's some robot, it obviously seems like Fido cares. Fido cares about Shin in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So him letting Frederica out, I feel like wasn't too out of character. But I'm just wondering, how she convinced Fido to let her out, or if he just did it. But that was really well executed, I thought, especially because we got to see inside Kyria's head on what he was thinking.
Yeah.
With it's how his final moments kind of defined the type of AI he was as a
correct.
Legion.
Because I was just about to bring this back up. We touched upon it a little bit before, but the Legion, is a little bit more sentient than we thought and stuff like that. And so it could be like different levels of it, like depending on like how strong your will was to survive. Like when you got killed by the Legion or something, depends on like how you I guess morph with them. Because I'm pretty sure like for like maybe more of like the small fodder soldiers or something like that, the people brains are just acting as motors and stuff like that. They're probably not aware of what's going on. But I guess more like I said, more of the people who had like a stronger will when they died or something like that, those are the ones who actually kept their consciousness and they actually know what's going on and stuff.
It seems like will / maybe I don't want to say regret, or maybe it's like anger, because like one theme, especially for like Shin's brother and Kiryu, is like the anger they held on to it. Like they're kind of like in the final moments. Like Shin's brother was like somewhat misplaced anger at Shin / like obviously the Republic, and then Kiryu is like the Federacy of Jihad all together, because like he thought they were responsible for Frederica's death, and when in reality she's still alive.
Yeah.
But like it definitely, I feel like, might be how those two things can be used as weapons, because as we saw, like Kiryu was ready to destroy everything for the sake of Frederica, and then when she came back, he was like, I still had this desire or need to protect you, and it was enough of a distraction for him to disregard the fight at all. So,
correct. But that's just something I was thinking about. So maybe like it's not, like I said, it's not like a one-to-one thing. That they're not necessarily evolving. I think it just depends upon like the brain and like who they killed and I guess the circumstances of what was going on at their death, depending on if they how they morph with the legions and stuff, and if they become like one of those higher sentient legions and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it just makes you think like, what if this is like, what is it? One of their generals or leader? Like this is like, I'm assuming the Morpho is pretty high up on the tier list. Maybe.
Correct. So, So
who is No Face?
Yeah. So do you think the legions have a leader, or do you think it's more of a group of generals?
From how it's shown, at least with the Morpho, it seems like the Morpho, and by that I think it might be like they have like a central leader, which is No Face.
Yeah, like they do have they have a hierarchy, whatnot we can see. But my question is, do you think there's like somebody at the top of the hierarchy? Like I'm like there's one person calling all the shots, or one legion. Right?
I think I'm not sure at this point. I think it might be No Face, but I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean, it could be somebody above No Face.
It could be somebody. Yeah, because I was like, technically, we don't even technically know where the Morpho ranks, because there could be scarier things other than the Morpho out there. Because 86, and because I didn't expect a train with a rail cannon.
Yeah, I'm about to say. I will say, once I first started this watching this anime, the Morpho was something I was not expecting to see.
I couldn't imagine that. So no, it's no telling, one, if there's a thing or somebody above No Face, and then two, what does No Face look like? Because if you're taking orders, if you look like that, if you're a train with a rail cannon,
and you taking orders from somebody else,
what does that person look like?
Yeah. And the only other thing I could mention is like, because they mentioned how the Legion have these what do you call them? The I can't remember the name of it, but the places where the Legion are built, though, maybe like
factories.
Yeah, the factories.
What they call factories?
Yeah, something like that. Maybe like one of the factories or something. Or is it sentient or something like that? I don't know. Like the whole building is just decked out with weapons and shit.
That's a scary thought. That's a scary thought.
Like imagine, like I can't think of the perfect reference. Like it's in my mind, but I can't think of the reference I'm thinking about right now. But like imagine, like you basically. Like the whole building is a damn legion, and they have to like go through and fight all this shit inside the building and get to the core and shit like that. Like that would be crazy.
that would be crazy. That's definitely like some the end of the story type fight. But yeah, I don't know. Like when thinking of the hierarchy of the 86 is so interesting because for a long time I just thought they were like we run on automatic processes where we have like a brain that helps us maneuver
Correct.
and stuff while we fight. And now I'm like, oh, there's orders. There's a hierarchy to this. What the fuck?
Yeah, because like you said, we just thought they were just mindless robots following old programming and just going and tearing stuff up. But apparently, it's deeper than that.
So
at this point, we don't know if they're still following their old. Well, they can't be still. Well, they should be following their old programming, or if they completely scratched that and came up with a whole new directive / plan. Like we don't know the Legion's true motive for what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
And before we touch upon the end of the episode, I would like to say, the Morpho wings were not for flying. I'm a little upset, but kind of happy at the same time. But at least they weren't just for show, though. They weren't just art pieces.
Yeah, no, they were. I was telling Ace this off camera, but while I was watching the episode, I was like, oh, so they're not for flying; they're just for disintegrating things. That's so much better, right? That's so much better.
Because if that motherfucker can fly, that's a problem. With that cannon that the Morpho has, and if it can fly, like that is an issue.
The wings are still the wing. Finding out what the wings could do is also still a problem. But
like the only other thing I can see from the Legions, like the next step up from Legions now, is like a flying Legion now. Like I think that would be like their next. That doesn't.
I wouldn't put it past them, especially after the little excerpt we got from like the Federacy's army, where they were like, "Oh, the Legion are learning because they were using like airdrop stuff as decoys so they could move their army." Mm-hmm. They were like, "Oh, the Legion is learning our tactics." I would not put it past me for them to be like, "Flights." That's the next thing, and then I have no idea what's about to happen for the 86 because that just sounds like death. But speaking of death, so like we said, there's a potential that all the 86 are gone, and that's because, and you obviously know this, the Morpho after it died had to self-destruct, obviously.
Which is, first of all, that's some bullshit. I'm calling bullshit because why the fuck do you have a self-destruct sequence? I mean, I just don't understand.
For me, that was the biggest fuck you because you already got all this bullshit. You had a cannon, you got wings that disintegrate things, you got miniguns, all this shit. Why do you need a self-destruct? Just because it's the final fuck you? Like
they pulled a Netero on us.
Basically. And at this point, and Shin got, as far as we know, is caught up in that blast, was at dead center from where it looked like it blew up. And so while we said Raiden is dead, I'm gonna need, if Shin is still alive, I'm gonna need an explanation.
Because he was basically, like you said, he was basically ain't even no basically. He was at the nucleus of the explosion. Yeah, there's no basic in it. The man was at the center. He was there.
The only people that have a potential, in my eyes, that should be still alive, if at all, would be Anju, Theo, and Karina. If Raiden and Shin are still alive, I need explanations. And if Frederica's still alive, only because she was close to the blast, I'm wondering if she's going to be hurt. Because she might
be hurt because she was close enough to maybe know what a shockwave could affect her.
Where the shockwave could have affected her, or got burned, or shrapnel hit her.
I would still be seeing Fido being able to get to her in time, though. So like, I can understand if Frederica is still alive because she wasn't. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No, she was.
I feel like even that was such a big explosion. I feel like something would have happened to her. Not necessarily.
I feel you on that. Yeah.
But Shin, if Shin and Raiden are still alive, hopefully, if they are, I need explanations. 2, good, but I just need explanations. You can't just be like, we are cool. Like that explosion was ridiculously huge, and then not only that, but as we mentioned before, Raiden was extremely fucked up. Like, there was no.
Like I said, if anybody's still alive, that man Raiden's still alive. Like you said, I really need explanations on that because he is a trooper. If that man's still alive, them freaking leaves built out of diamonds, boy.
Yeah.
But all right, so they left us on the cliffhanger here for 86. Mm-hmm. Everybody could be dead. Everybody could be alive. We don't know, but as we said before, we don't put nothing past the writers of 86 at this point. Like I said, I would not be surprised if they were all dead at all, because especially for the fact that I thought they was all dead at the end of the first court, anyways. So
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised they're all dead anyways.
I would be surprised because Ace is showing no qualms with killing off people.
none qualms. So we'll just go ahead and rate these episodes. We'll just do a joint rating. So for episode 20 and 21 together, what would you give them as a rating?
Together?
We'll just give them a joint rating.
8.5.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Like I episode 20. If I did it by, well, we're not doing it, but like episode 20, I thought was a really nice character study for Shin. We finally got to see like a little bit more into what he's been feeling / thinking this whole time, like why he acts the way he acts. And then 21 was a nice execution of like of a battle that we knew had to come, and then the way it was resolved, I thought wasn't like just a random or anything. Like I felt like it had a lot of weight, and the way it happened made sense because as we know the relationship between Kyria and Frederica. We knew how that could have played out. So I liked how they used that to like their advantage in the fight, and then Shin having to come to qualms with like doing this all over again, possibly losing his friends and just having to be like the person that ended it all. I thought was also pretty poetic with everything we saw in the previous episode of the Twin. So I'm gonna say like 8.5. So it was a really strong episode. It's just missing some. I don't know. I can't place it, but like I didn't feel as engaged in this episode as I was with like the initial Morpho fight.
Yeah.
And with the whole like Legion Swarm thing, like those two were like really strong. But like this was a pretty strong. Together, these two episodes I feel like were pretty strong. Separately, I'm not sure what I'd probably rate them, but together I'd say probably 8.5.
Yeah. So I'll agree with you on everything you said. I think you pretty much hit all the topics right on the head. But I'll give it an 8 though. Mm-hmm. Just to touch upon the point that you made, where so the Morpho versus Shin, I did enjoy it, but like you said, I don't think for whatever reason the little first initial Morpho fight was. I think it was more hype. It had, even though he didn't even. I don't know what it was about it. Like even though it felt like they didn't even do as much in that fight, it was just something about that fight though that
I think it was
hit a little harder.
I think we learned a lot that fight. Like for instance, like 1, there were 2, 3, it had wings, and then 4, we found out that like there's a hierarchy to Legion. So there was a lot revealed. I feel like it maybe that first initial fight, and that's why it felt like that. But this one felt, maybe because it was like they decided to cut the and this, you could see this as a mistake or not, but having the 86 be scattered again didn't feel as enticing because we saw it happen already, and that's I feel like to me where it kind of like loses some of it.
I agree.
I feel like it would have been more interesting to see all of them fight it, and then all of them each get taken out one by one.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, I was just about to say that. I think it would have been a lot more interesting if they fought it together instead of it being like a 1-on-1 between Kyria and Shin. And I think that's probably what my issue lies at. It was that it turned into a 1-on-1, even though I kind of felt like that's where it was leading to.
Yeah, which I don't think is bad, but I feel like it should have been like the Morpho was the one taking all of them out.
No, because I don't think it was bad. I just think it would have been better if
because it would have felt more. What is the battle would have felt like it had 1 more stake, and 2 it would have felt like a much more like relief when it did end up that like when because it was good to see it destroyed, but I feel like if it had fought all of them and it was like slowly taking on Raiden, Theo, and all them.
Because then on top of that, because like I understand like the 1-on-1 between Shin and his brother, that was a boss battle. But then like this boss battle with the Morpho, it seems like okay, Shin, this ain't one you could really take 1-on-1. And technically he didn't because he did have a little help from Raiden and like we said, those and then those random shots that came from out of nowhere. So it technically wasn't a 1-on-1, but still. I feel like if this boss battle needed to be like, hey, we got to fight you together in order to take you down.
Would have had a lot more weight to it, I feel like.
Yeah. But so moving on from that. But before we move on to our next episode here, so 86 episode 22 and 23 have been delayed, and delayed By a
This
lot.
strong word. They don't come back until 22 doesn't come back until March
The
12th, right? Yeah. And then 23, which is supposedly its last episode, will not be airing until the 19th.
Correct. So, technically, no, ain't no technically. 86 will be on the delay for here on the Gurren Otaku Council podcast as well. But don't worry, we will cover those last 2 episodes when they do come out eventually. But I guess, just for those who aren't necessarily keeping up with 86, if you don't hear us talking about it in the recent future, that is why. It's because it is on delay.
Yeah, they won't come back until the spring of this year, which is quite odd, but hey, we don't work in the industry, so we have no idea.
Yeah, we don't know what's going on, so I can't, just stuff happens, so this is what we got to deal with. So moving on to last anime we have here for part 1, we're moving on to Mushoku Tensei. Going to be doing episode 22 and 23.
The end of this.
And yeah, this is the end of Mushoku Tensei. So round of applause, because they did a really good job with this second half, I think. It was a lot of stuff I wasn't expecting from Mushoku when I first started watching this show. And just to see the first season complete, I definitely feel like I can put it up there in my tier list. And just, they did a really good job with this anime. The plot was good. Animation is good. The characters are lovable and likable. They did a really good job with this season and this anime as a whole.
Yeah, Mushoku Tensei has definitely gone down and don't know where, because as an anime fan, I'm very fickle. Top 10, but the world building alone is drastically. I loved it, and also, as you said, the characters were very lovable and likable. With the exception of the perversion here and there, but not enough to ruin the series.
No, It's not enough because it's not directly this 30-year-old man. It's just the mind of a 30-year-old man. Like, I think this gets a pass because the man was literally reborn again. Like, this man came out the womb again. Like he wasn't just reincarnated. This man came out the womb again.
Oh no, I get it. I've heard this. I've had this conversation with more than just you. So
like, I understand where a lot of people are coming from, but like, the man literally came out the womb again. Leave this man alone. Like, it's not his fault that he kept his memory, but the man literally came out the womb again. I just don't. I don't know what y'all want from him. I really don't.
To be better. But I guess to get into the episode conversation, this is 22, right?
Correct.
So 22 is basically the aftermath of the Orsted fight. And to start off, Rujit and Rudy have kind of a conversation about finally, like, where Rudy admits that he has been getting help from this man guy this whole time. And I thought it was very interesting to see how Rujit just took all that in stride. Like, so a god helps you out, that's cool. And then my hair is the reason I'm cursed? Whack. But it was good to see, I think, Rujit, Rudy get vindication from Rujit just taking all the things he said in stride and not calling him a fraud, because he's like, regardless if you were getting helped by him, you were the one helping me.
Correct.
And you should not discount that. And I thought that was a really great way for him to react, because Rujit could have gotten mad. Like, he could have been straight up pissed.
He could have.
He was getting lied to this whole time. But he was just like, look, you helped me get rid of my curse. I couldn't have done it without you, regardless of the man God's help.
Correct.
Because you should find solace in that. And I was like, that's dope.
And I agree with Rudy. Even though Rudy was getting help from the man guy, it was Rudy the one who had to actually go and do the work and put the plan into action. So I mean,
and when you think about it in the grand scheme of things as a viewer, I mean, the man guy only really told him to trust him. He didn't really say that what you guys needed to do to get his curse down. He was just like, look, he trusts this dude. He's a good dude. Eventually, he'll get his curse down. He didn't say what you had to do. ago. So I felt like that was a really good like poignant thing for Rudy to kind of like reflect on like the fact that regardless of the fact that he's getting help from this entity, he is still out here putting in this work. Like it was still him doing these things, and I thought that came at a great time because he had just suffered a loss,
a fat
as
L.
well. Yeah, that big L. Should have kept his mouth shut. I'm gonna repeat it, but and it came at a time like he was questioning everything, so I felt like Rudy did a good job of like re-solidifying like Rudy's faith in himself. It's just unfortunately that came like right before a sad part, which is wild.
So yes, moving on from that conversation, Rudy finally makes it home, but of course, as we already know, this it is basically no longer there. Everything's blown to smithereens. And after he goes back to his old house, and he has a small little flashback, which confirms that it was his old house. They go to this tree, which I think it was that big tree him and Sophie was hanging out at, maybe.
Yeah. They go to the tree, and I think it's on the small hill that would overlook most of like the small village.
Yeah,
and they just see it, everything's destroyed. I mean, we kind of got a glimpse of that when we got the episode that explained his dad's, what his dad had been doing since the mom disaster.
Yeah.
Paul. Why am I blanking on his name? Paul. And it's just, and like I said, such a good start. Like it was like healing, and then we're gonna kick you because they get back and it's like, man, everything's shitty again. And then Ruger's like, peace, y'all.
Which is even more fucked up because like I figured like because we talked about this earlier, what what would Ruger do once they got home and found out that everything was fucked up and everything. And so they get home and they see everything is fucked up, and then like you said, Ruger is like, all right, y'all, it was good. I fulfilled my part of the obligation. I got y'all home. I'm going. And I was like, well, damn, Ruger. Like, I feel like that was the obligation. You are correct, but I just felt like we've been through so much together now that
he said, "Now I did the bare minimum. I'm out."
I figured that we've been through so much together that at least you'll stay a little bit longer or something.
I really thought he was going to. I figured he was going to say goodbye, but I thought it was going to be after they got Eris home. I really thought that.
But no, my boy was like, you know what? I got y'all home.
I got you to where you stay, Rudy. So I'm going.
I'm going.
That's technically the definition of your house. So it's good at
it. Technically, you're right. Be that it may not be there anymore, but that little plot right there, that little area, that's where you lived.
Destroyed. You see that rock right there?
That's you. That rock right there, that's you. Damn.
I had such mixed feelings about that scene too, because I'm just like, damn, Richard. I don't know if you would. I feel like this is something your character would do, but I also feel like you would have stayed. So
correct. Like I like you said, it's like I'm not mad at him, but at the same time, it's like, damn, Ruger, I'm kind of am mad at you. It's like I'm half and half. Like, damn, Ruger, that's kind of fucked up, but then damn, Ruger, I understand at the same time.
Yeah, because now, I mean, they kind of touched on it that like now he has this responsibility of doing the good by himself to get rid of his curse. Like if he keeps doing it, so. Yeah, it was just so weird because, like I said, we started off with a pep talk and then he's like, peace. But moving on from that, did you have anything more to say about that scene?
Oh, I just thought Ruger was better than that.
Man, we all thought he was still my dude. It's just kind of fucked up.
No, we still rock with Ruger. It's just like you said. I just thought after everything that they done been through, that like you said, they would at least wait. He would at least wait until they got Eris home or something like god damn.
Yeah, but moving on from that, later on in the episode, we get Rudy and Eris returning back to Eris's homeland. I forget the name.
I forget it as well. Yeah,
so we'll probably put it in post, like a picture or something. But they make it back, and we see that apparently the kingdom is gone or mostly destroyed. It seems like, but there's a refugee camp outside of it where people are gathering, and we finally get a reunion between Eris and Ghislaine. as well as apparently Eris's family attendee, like one of their attendees or somebody that works in the court. And we finally get to see where Eris receives news about what happened to her family. And we thought, and if you watch, I'm pretty sure most of us assumed that it was just her grandfather that was killed, but it turns out that it was her grandfather, her mother, and her father.
Basically, her whole family
all got wiped,
which is kind of fucked up.
Kind of.
It came out of left field. Like I said, because we knew her granddad was already dead, so that was fine. We just thought that her parents was just somewhere lost, but he came. Oh, but walked in. Nope, it's been confirmed by Ghislaine here. They're dead. I'm like, well, damn. Okay.
Yeah. And
where do we go from here?
And this whole Rudy is like, man, what the is there anything we can do? Is there something like I can like try and make it? He's like trying to figure this all out, and it's what sucks is it's like such a powerful character, as well as like we got to see Eris grow so much this season, and then to just be beaten down like that, and then not only that, but after mentioning all this, Eris's family's attendee is like, hey, but there's this guy wants to marry you, really powerful. If you do this, we can get our land back to the way it used to be. And I'm just like, so you want to sell her? And Rudy, same thing. He's like, hold on now, you can't just do that. And Eris is like, shut up. Shut up. Everybody shut the fuck up. And she basically, well, at this point, we technically don't know if she made up her mind to do that, because by the end of the episode, it's kind of murky on like what exactly she decided. But she asked everyone to leave, get out the tent, and we see Eris kind of just break down. And like I said before, it's so shitty because you get to see her build herself up to be like great. This like she's been training with Rugier, a warrior that outclassed her in every way. She took on her own student. Like she really bossed up in a lot of ways. She even became more like emotionally communicative because she was able to express her care for Rudy and Rugier and all this stuff. And now we see her at her lowest. Yeah,
I mean, then this also comes back to what we mentioned, the good writing of Mushoku, because we already knew that the city was basically fucking gone and that her granddad was dead. So like saying that, like they hit us with Ghislaine being alive. We're like, oh, okay, that's good news. Ghislaine is still kicking it. I didn't think she was dead because if you're gonna kill Ghislaine, she gonna go down swinging.
Yeah.
If the only thing I see killing Ghislaine is something like an Orsted encounter, some shit like that. But so I wasn't really worried about Ghislaine unless something really just crazy happened to her. But then we got the good news that Ghislaine is still safe, and then they just hit us with this left hook out of nowhere that Eris's family is just gone. They're just dead.
And it's so interesting because it's like we were prepared for her we figured bad stuff probably happened to her dad because her granddad died, and it looked like it was someone, the corrupt people of the Grey Rat family that they mentioned before they did. So we got confirmation on that. And so it was like, oh, audience, you are now prepared for this gut punch that is coming later. And then there was a nope, psych, everybody, and this character that you probably fell in love with is about to be sold into slavery. So deal with that. And I was just like,
I wouldn't call it slavery, but I feel you.
I mean, there's another word for it.
Slavery was a very strong word, but
I mean, technically, well, they use concubine, which is technically like a sex slave, but that's why I was like,
but yeah, and they just come out with this left hook out of nowhere because, like, we thought, as viewers, that we was already prepared for everything that was gonna come Eris' way, and here the writers come. You thought you was prepared, but you wasn't.
You thought you was about to get a happy ending. Psych.
Basically. Psych. And here we are with that. And then I wasn't gonna touch up on it, but Billy wanted to touch up on it.
Okay, so we're not gonna I'm not gonna go into anything. I'm not about to describe nothing because it was gross. All right, it was gross. But if you saw this episode, which you should have before watching this anime. And if you haven't seen this episode, trigger warning probably at the end because, it is probably Eris's low point because I'm pretty sure no one wanted what happened to happen. Or maybe you did, but you definitely didn't want it to happen like this because that was definitely like shit's gone left.
Before you continue, I will say this. At all the times I thought Rudy was gonna be the strong, young-minded young man we needed. Here he go, goddamn falling.
Oh my god. Okay, so yeah, I was about to touch up on that. So like I said, I'm not about to describe what happens. You can use your imagination, but people are down bad. I'm gonna just say that. Eris has a total like. I get why her character did it. I just was like, this feels disgusting. Because I was like, you probably don't know what's about to happen after this. And this is probably something you technically do want, but this is probably not the way you want it to happen at all. It was just really bad. And then Rudy, my guy, I can't talk to you personally because you are not a real person, but how did that get you to do it? Like,
oh shit!
Like of all the things, that
but when she pulled out that phrase, and I was like, "Hey, Rudy, you better not." I was like, "You better fucking."
And then the fucking animators, shame on y'all for slowing down time. I don't want to spend any more time with that.
I was like, "Rudy, you better fucking not." And then here he go. I'm like, "God damn it, Rudy! I can't." Out of all the things that she could have said, Rudy, you let that get you.
He said, "You let that one get you," because he was really trying to be responsible, and then that shit. I'm just mad because that was cringe as fuck. One and two, really. Okay, that's it. That was my soapbox moment because God, I don't have a problem. I don't have I understand where it came from. I get that, and so it technically makes sense with the story and what the characters. It's just that was disgusting. That was just nasty.
It was very cringeworthy.
And my God.
It didn't even like I said, it's just a phrase that really what his man fell apart in. And I'm just like, come on now, Rudy. I cannot. I just can't believe you fell for that. I really can't believe you just fell for that. But you know what, Rudy? You know what? You're a virgin. You know, you got reincarnated to this new world at the same time, and then you've been wanting to do this for the longest. But still, I just didn't think you was gonna fold at that phrase. But here we are.
See me out too. That was dumb. Why?
But here we are.
Here we are.
So
with that said, after that happened, again, not gonna say what it was, Rudy is left by himself.
Also, would like to mention we're moving on to episode 23 now.
Oh well, technically this is still, I believe, in the end of episode 22.
No, sir.
Is it?
No, sir.
Because I thought he had immediately after he gets up. No, and he's goes back in. He tries to wake her up, and he notices she's not there, and her hair is on the floor.
At least I can't. I don't think. I think that.
Okay, so we're probably in limbo between. We'll just say we're in limbo between 22 and 23. But yeah, basically, Rudy finds out after the debauchery that he is left alone. Eris left. We don't know what she's doing because in the note she doesn't describe it. She just says, "I've gone. I'm not telling you where I've gone. I just know Ghislaine is with me, and that's it." And now Rudy is, as we go into episode 23, in a state of obvious depression. He's not doing anything, not shit. Like, they're trying to make him, like, I think, what was it? Eris's family, the guy who was like an attendant of Eris's family. Yeah, is trying to make Rudy use his magic to help rebuild the city, and he's just not having any of it. He's not having obviously out of it he's stuck having nightmares about his family and Orsted coming to kill him, and it's just really bad. It's not good.
Yeah, so he down bad right now. Like, I didn't expect us to lose both Rugier and Eris within an episode span, but here we are. So, boy Rudy's left by himself now, and he is down bad. But luckily, he was able to talk himself through it out of his little deep depression, which is not normally the case. Sometimes it's hard to talk yourself out of depression. Sometimes you need help from other people to help you get out of that. Yeah, that slump.
Yeah, and Rudy's no exception because throughout the series we see how Eris and Rugier normally help him move past, or like the man god move past something that's been, that ate away at him. So it was nice to see that he kind of was the person that helped him move forward. But we, in between that though, we also get scenes of while he doesn't know where Eris is, we got to see a scene of Eris and Ghislaine somewhere. Not sure. We don't know. It's like, but I'm assuming it's like still within the same country as where they left. It doesn't seem like they've gone too far. Where Eris is explaining how even though Rudy was so strong, he still lost to Orsted, and I couldn't do anything. She felt powerless, and basically she's telling Ghislaine, "I want to become stronger so I can protect the one I love."
Makes sense.
Rudy.
Like when she even when she left, I already knew what was the reason. Like I've watched enough anime. You're not finna fool me, Eris. I already know what's going down.
Yeah, basically.
I already know what's going down. Like you said, you felt bad because the one time where Rudy actually needed help, you couldn't do anything to help him. So which like true anime fashion, what are you gonna do about it? You're finna go on an adventure, a solo adventure to get stronger.
Yep, training arc.
Basically, not finna fool me, Eris. I already knew what's finna go down. But it will be. It will be good because I think if anybody can teach her more stuff, it will be Ghislaine. Since that was her original sword master, so she can still pick up, more of the techniques that Ghislaine hasn't taught her yet because she wasn't of that level per se and whatnot.
Oh yeah, I mean,
so,
Ghislaine is still the sword king, so
correct. So Ghislaine can actually teach her more stuff now because Eris is actually more skilled now, and so she can learn a lot more from her master now. As well as, just being on this adventure without Rudy will also help her grow up as well. Because, as we said before, like she said herself, Rudy was really the one who was mainly doing everything. He was really protecting her the whole time. And, the one time he needed protection, she couldn't do nothing about it.
Yep.
And so, here we are, training arc.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see, I guess, because as we know, or if you did not know, Mushoku got greenlit for 2 seasons. So
lit.
Season 2 and 3.
So
Season 2 and 3 are coming eventually.
Lit.
So I'm waiting to see.
If we do see season 2 this year, it'll definitely be towards the end of this year.
Yeah,
but I'm not expecting to see it this year. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't get it till 2023. But if we do see it, it won't be till the end of this year.
Yeah, it's not coming out till probably fall of this year. If anything, if it's coming out at all, this year.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure they're gonna take their time on this. And also, I'm wondering, like I said, with the whole training art thing, because it also seems like, we'll get to what Rudy's going to be doing at the end of the season later. Well, at the end of this of season 1 later. But everything seems to be leading up to possibly a time skip. That's what I feel like.
Correct. Yeah.
With the training, with the training arc and everything, it feels like we're going to get a time skip coming soon.
That's what it's looking like. Well, no, we can go ahead and touch upon this real quick because most of the rest of the topics are stuff that happened at the end of the episode, towards the end of the episode. Let me touch on this real quick.
So like we said, Rudy pulls himself out of his depression. I'll let Ace do it.
Like he was just mentioning, Rudy pulls himself out of his depression, and basically what was the catalyst was his mother. He was having memories of his mother and how he felt the love from his mother, and most memories of just enjoying his time with his mother and stuff like that. And he was like, because on top of this flashbacks where he was having it with his mother, he was also having flashbacks when he was in his other life and stuff that was going on in that time frame, and how he didn't reach out to the people that was trying to reach out to him and actually help him get out of his depression from when he was in his other life. And so that also helped him come out of it, because he was like, I can't go back through this again. I actually have people here. I had people who loved me then, but I didn't let them love me, and I also have people who love me now. So I'm not gonna miss on this chance again. I'm not gonna mess this up again. So he was like, you know what? I have to go find my mother.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up, because now I'm remembering the fact that like when he did that, there was like kind of a thing of like the old him finally like disappearing. Correct. Making it seem like, which makes it seem like he's no longer going to focus on that part of himself anymore. It seems like he might fully be entrenched in his life as Rudy's.
Okay, you had cut out a little bit there.
I was saying, it seemed like at that moment when like the older him disappeared, that there was kind of like a symbolic thing saying like, I am fully entrenched in who I am now, and no longer like the person I was before. Yeah. And I think that's really prevalent to notice, because I'm wondering if that means we're no longer going to see old Rudy anymore. Because
that's a good point.
Because and it makes me think now that the state that he sees himself in when he goes to the manga thing, that could be just what he perceives of himself still in his mind. But if he's letting that go, he might next time he has a meeting with the manga, he might just see himself as Rudy.
As Rudy, yeah. That you might be onto something with that. I didn't even think about that. But that could be the case. Like you said, he's letting his old self go, because that's basically what they symbolize with the flashbacks and the whole true little transitions they was doing. Because like as he was stepping out the little tent that he was in, they also played a scene where he was opening the door to his apartment door, and like so as he was stepping through, saw the bright light and like his body like faded away and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So it could have been a symbol of him as like like, yes, I'm also gonna do what the old me didn't do, but I'm also leaving the old me in the past as well. I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, like, Mushoku has done stuff like symbolic stuff like that before, so I just felt like that might lead to other ramifications down the line. Well, if we ever see him have a meeting with the man god again, which we probably will, it's just that I feel like we might not see previous life Rudy anymore. We might just see what he is now, because he's probably fully entrenched.
Correct.
In it now.
That's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up. So that basically, what happens. He pulls himself, goes through that whole dialogue with himself, and like McMillian just said, kind of basically just leave him old self in the past, and not wanting to make the same mistakes again. And now he's going to go off on an adventure to go find his mother. And so we find out from Roxy, because Roxy's on the Demon Continent still, as you all know, and she has met up with the Demon Emperor, and she asked the Demon Emperor, what was going on with Paul's family. Yeah. So we found out that. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, the reasoning. I mean, technically, you've seen it, but the Demon Emperor got into another difficult spot. Roxy helped her out, and now she gets a wish, but she doesn't ask for an eye, she asked for information.
Which I thought she was going to get a demon eye, so I was like,
I did too.
I was like, damn, if Roxy gets the demon eye too, this shit's finna be lit.
Exactly. I was about to say, oh shit, demon eye student and master. Let's see what that's going to be like. Yeah. But I think that the subversion of that was also just as good though. Like the psych out, like you thought, but here's something as equally as important.
Yeah. So we got some important information from the Demon Emperor here. So we found out that Aisha and her mom have reunited with Rudy's dad back in Millis. Thank you. Reunited back with them in Millis, so they're in good hands now. They're safe and sound now. They're found. They're safe. We can close that chapter, book of the chapter out. That's a resolution we got. We already knew it was heading back to him, but it was good that we got the visual representation that they actually made it there. So we can close that chapter out. And we also got a hint to where Rudy's mom is located. And I am not going to say this because I think I'm going to butcher the fuck out of this name. But she's on another continent we have not seen yet, in a labyrinth city. I'm going to put the title up now on the screen. I really don't want to butcher this name, so I'm just not going to even try to say it. But, so yeah, she's stuck in some labyrinth city. And to me, I don't know about anybody else, but to me, at least that last shot that the Demon Emperor was seeing kind of looked like a little crystallized dragon to me, just a little bit.
From what I remember, because it's been a little bit since we watched.
You couldn't really make it out, but that's just, I think that's from at least what I saw and interpreted. It could just because we had this whole bout with Orsted just a few episodes ago, but I would not be surprised if Orsted is involved with this as well in his shenanigans. Mm-hmm. So if that is the case, then we kind of knew there was going to be another Orsted encounter somewhere in the future anyways, but it might be a little bit more quicker than we all thought.
Yeah.
If there was a crystallized dragon.
Yeah, and now that we know where she is and we know who's going to be after, I'm wondering like how long it's going to take for Rudy and Roxy finally have their reunion, because as we know, they kept missing each other.
Well, before. So I'm pretty sure that's what they're going to have, the reunion point, because now Roxy knows where she's at, so she's going to head there.
Mm-hmm. And Rudy's still
that's already a given. Now it's just, now the question is, how does Rudy figure out where she is, and then how does he going to get there? We already know Roxy has the information that she's going to go because that's the mission she's on right now is to find Paul's families, and that's the only one that's need left to be found. So we already know she's heading there, so that's a no question. Now it's just a question of how is Rudy going to find out where his mother is, and then how was he, going to get there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the big clip. That's one of the cliffhangers they left us on. Is they left us on with Rudy's by himself now. He's going on a solo adventure to go find his mother, and we have been teased about where his mother is located at currently. Yeah. And then the little closing out teaser for season 1 of Mushoku. I'll let you have this one, Jay.
So our girl is back for all of 30 seconds. That's right, you guessed it. Sylvie has made an appearance, but it looks like something has happened to her, possibly due to the mana disaster. She looks a lot taller, obviously, and then 2, her hair is now shock white or gray, which could be a lot of different things. But in the scene that she's revealed in, she's talking to, it seems like, the head of the magic school that Rudy was trying to get them into in the whole beginning of the season. And she's pleading with them not pleading, but making a case for them to admit Rudy into the college. So I think when we start up back with season 2, there's going to be 2 things that need to be answered. Obviously, finding Rudy's mom, and then the whole magic school thing, what that's going to look like as far as one, how does Rudy get there? Will he be reunited with Sylvie? Will he even recognize her with everything that's changed? Why is Sylvie at the college already? Because that was a surprise. We knew, we knew that from the last episode. We forgot to mention, but there was a board that had all the people that were missing, and then if they were found or deceased, and Sylvie's name was marked off as found, but it didn't say whether she was dead or not. And now we know that where she is, but we don't know necessarily if that's exactly where she was teleported, or if something else might have happened.
Correct. So I think if it was she either could have been teleported to the area near the school, and maybe one of the people that attend the school found her or something and just decided to bring her in. Because I don't think that. The whole plot of the reason why Rudy was even away at the first place because he was going to get money so they could attend the school. Go to the school. Yeah. So I don't think so from that we know she didn't have the money to attend the school already. So I think it's more along the lines of after the mana disaster happened. I think somebody from the school.
Yeah, I was
not necessarily teleported to the school, but maybe somewhere in the area, and somebody from the school found her.
I'm thinking basically the same thing, that maybe she was teleported somewhere near the school. Something might have happened where she had to use where she had to use magic. And as we know, she is another person that can use voiceless or speechless magic.
Incantationless magic.
Incantationless, thank you.
And then another thing I wanted to bring up about that is they mentioned, so when Sylvie was making her case for Rudy, the higher ups would mention was a boy that can use incantationless magic and whatnot, and a water mage at that, King class? Is he King class?
I think so. I think
that's what it is.
Yeah, because he got to Roxy. I believe Roxy said when he did that spell, you had reached the same level as her, and they're both, and she's King class. So I'm assuming he's also
and they was just dumbfounded by that, and it was this can't be. And this brings up my question is, so if they think it's impossible for Rudy to be doing incantationless magic, does that mean that Sylvie hasn't showed them that she can do it as well?
Well, she said. Well, one of the things she brought up in her thing was that he is my teacher and the person I admire the most. And it seemed like she had mentioned. So I don't know. That's a good question, because I thought at first it was obvious because she said, "Oh, he's my teacher. He taught me how to do it." But that doesn't necessarily mean that she's shown that she can do it as well. That's a good point. But I'm thinking. But my theory was the reason she got let into the school is that she might have saved someone with incantationless magic who works there, and they were like, "You gotta go here. There's no way you can't go here." And then that's what kind of where we pick up off where she's like, "I can't go be here myself. I would also like for Rudy to be accepted here because obviously teacher, person I admire the most." And one, it was his thing that inspired her to probably want to practice. It was him who inspired her to want to practice magic, and then also him that made her want to go there as well. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot. Season 2 is coming with a lot of heat of like stuff that needs to be answered and resolved. Because I'm very interested to see one if we'll get of like what we'll start off at. Will we start off with them finding?
Well, at least I do what I'd say is that my theory of that Sylvie has been practicing her magic is technically correct.
Yeah,
if she's
definitely.
in the magic school, she's definitely been learning more about magic. So
definitely, yeah.
So she could, like I said, she could be almost on par with Rudy if she actually been doing, keeping up with her incantationless magic and stuff like that. She could be on par with Rudy.
Yeah. Definitely.
So it's gonna be interesting to see. Definitely when they link back up, and I think they should do a little small spark when they link back up. I think that would be fine to see.
that would be nice if that's what happens. I'm wondering if we'll, because with the Roxy episodes, we got to see a little bit of Roxy. I'm wondering if they might start next season with Sylvie's story leading up to showing how she got at the school, maybe, or at least somewhere in the second season. I feel like they might touch on it.
Yeah, because like you said, I think we're definitely going to get a time skip here sooner or later, somewhere, maybe. Yeah. It just really depends because it could be a time skip, it could not be a time skip, but it is definitely giving implications that we might have a little small time skip here.
I'm just saying, Eris mentioned training arc. I just feel like
you're correct.
That's going to lead to a time skip, and then also we don't know how long it's going to take for Rudy and Eris. Rudy and Roxy to get to the continent that they need to go to. Correct. So I feel like either it's going to be a time skip or the episodes of Rudy and Roxy traveling to that continent might be covered by like what was Sylvie doing during the manga, after the manga disaster. They might touch on that because people are going to want to know those answers anyway. So I think they're going to have to touch on that somewhere in season 2, whether it be the beginning, middle, or like end. We're probably going to get to see Sylvie. What led her to be where she is right now at the end of the season. But correct. Yeah, that's all. That's really all I got to say is for like the end of 86. 86 of Mushoku before we get to the rating of it. Yeah. You got anything else?
No, it's just at this point I just really I knew something had to be going on with Sylvie, but I just didn't imagine. Like I said, another plot twist. Who would have thought that Sylvie was already at the magic school now? So, like I said, it already proves my first theory that she definitely been practicing with her magic, and I just cannot wait to see all the stuff that she has learned so far. Mm-hmm. And it's I just can't wait because then, like you said, is Rudy even gonna remember Sylvie when he first see her? I'm pretty sure he's not gonna remember her off the first glimpse, or he might remember her first glimpse because you already know how Rudy get down. So yeah, he might remember her off the first glimpse. So ain't no telling how this man get down. But also how is this love triangle maybe technically gonna work out, or even if. Because we don't know if Sylvie technically loves Rudy or not. We know she has a level of admiration for him, but
I'm pretty sure she loves him. I'm pretty sure. So that also might cause some drama. I don't know. Yeah. It'll be very interesting to see what all leads up, or how much of season 2 will get. Because I feel like with House, granted, it's not. It was pretty talked about, so I feel like it's pretty successful. If it's pretty successful here, it's probably pretty popular in Japan as well. So I guess with all the success of it, I wonder how many episodes we'll get next season. If they'll do the standard 24, if we'll get to
I would hope they just do another standard 24 because there's still chapters of the light novel are still coming out as we speak. So
no, light novel's done. Manga is still coming out.
Oh, the light novel's done. I thought it was. So wait, no, is the anime based off the manga or the light novel?
Light novel.
Okay.
The manga, technically, it's based off the source material. The manga is also based off the light novel, so it's just that they instead of just writing words, they gotta do the drawing.
The picture, yeah, okay. Oh wait, no, you are correct. I forgot this. You just reminded me about the difference between light novels and mangas now. Thank you, sir. Mm-hmm. Okay, but no, yeah. So like you said, the source material is done, so they don't necessarily have to wait for the manga to get to a certain spot because the manga is not writing the source material. It's just technically adapting the source material as well. But yeah, so I guess we could do the same thing for this. We'll just do a joint rating. Episode 22 and 23. What would you give them?
See, part of me is like, man, this is low. This is lower because it made me sad. But that's It's hard. It's hard because I'll let you go first if you feel like.
Yeah. So while you ponder, I think I have to at least give it a solid 8. They left us on a lot of cliffhangers here for this last season. You know, we got the reintroduction to Sylphie at the magic school as that, so that's a bonus on top of that. They dropped us with a hint of where Rudy's mother is, and then on top of this, Rudy's now by himself. So what is the implication of Rudy being on a solo adventure gonna unfold? Is Rudy gonna pick up more learning his sword skills now to help better defend himself? Because, you know, he's not good at close range combat and stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, Ares and Rougier took care of that for him, but he's not with them anymore. So is he gonna maybe, you know, pick up his sword skills a little bit more now? Like I said, you know, to counteract for the fact that he doesn't have Rougier and Asia no more, or is he just gonna take another step in his magic, which he's gonna do anyways, but to a leap at the point where he doesn't have to worry about close range combat anymore, because he got magic that can, whatever magic he's gonna learn, he's just gonna take care of that. And so it's gonna be interesting to see that as well. And then just like I said, how are they gonna get to the continent as well, like you mentioned, because we know Roxy's know where Roxy has the information. We know she's gonna go there, but how's Rudy gonna find out? And then on top of the house, he's gonna get there. So they left us on a lot of cliffhangers, and then they also closed, you know, a lot of stuff up. You know, I mean, Rougier, you know, brought them home, and now he's going on his mission to clear his name solo now. Yeah. Aisha and her mother met up with Rudy's dad, so that's another chapter closed. They home safe and sound. You know, like we didn't just get a lot of cliffhangers. We also got some resolution to some story as well. So, and then Ares training arc. So I mean, hey.
Yeah. With that, I think I'm gonna just do one more higher. I really think I'm gonna give it a 9, only because, as you said, they wrapped up a lot in a really nice way. The series as a whole was pretty good. In terms of like, it wasn't exactly the perfect ending, but I felt like it's not the end of the whole thing. So there's no way to really wrap this up 100% cleanly. But I think what they left us with, like you said, enough things to look forward to, as well as giving us enough to like look back on as like, look at all that was accomplished so far, but we still have so much more.
Correct.
In that like regard, I feel like it's that as a whole was like a 9. Even with the cringe-worthy stuff that happened in the last episode.
So, well, yeah. That's our ratings. As McMillian said, Mushoku Tensei has already been greenlit for season 2 and season 3. And for whatever reason, if you have not started watching this anime yet, please do yourself a favor and go start this anime series.
And if you are and somehow watching this podcast, good on you for having good taste. But yeah, watch, as Ace was saying, watch it, and also I'd probably encourage your friend, especially if they like fantasy, to watch it. This is probably one of the best like fantasy stories I've seen, watched. You know, I haven't read any of it, by the way. I was just saying like read because subtitles, but yeah.
But yeah, so this will be the last episode here that we're doing for Mushoku for the time being. It's officially out of the lineup for the time being, as well as technically 86 is technically out of the lineup for the time being until March, but we will cover that when it comes back. So this is the end of part 1. Definitely be on the lookout for part 2. We'll definitely be coming out this weekend. This part 1 should be releasing this Wednesday. If you're watching this and listening to this currently, it should be releasing this Wednesday, and I plan on having part 2 ready by Saturday as well. This Saturday as well. So definitely on the lookout for that. But why don't you go take us on out here, McMillian?
All right, guys. As always, thank you for attending. Please do follow us on our social media, on Twitter at the Gurren Otakus, and on Instagram at Gurren Otaku Council for all of our news. Basically, because we'll probably be announcing the animes that we're doing for the winter of this year on there, but we might also mention in a video, but most likely we'll mention it on our social media first.
Most definitely we'll mention it on social media.
Also, like I said, if you like listening to us, consider giving us a follow or a subscribe, depending on what you're watching this as. Listen to us on. And also, if you got anything to say about the episodes we covered, please leave a comment. We love engaging. So, with all that said, meeting adjourned, guys. Peace. We'll see you next time.